I just got to be here and say hi. So here I am saying hi. So this is On Imagination with the Healing Garden. And step into my world with me. I will show you what I see. I hate the movie Pinocchio. I hate everything about Pinocchio. I loathe Pinocchio. Hate it. And I remember when I was a kid. Oh, no. We're going to rip it apart because I fucking hate Pinocchio. I owned every Disney movie ever except Alice in Wonderland and Pinocchio. Fucking hated Pinocchio. Now, Alice in Wonderland, I get because it was so fucking illogical. And yeah, look, Lewis Carroll and I have a long history. So that's a whole nother thing. And he and I have since made amends and now we're best friends. Because I realized, oh, Alice in Wonderland is literal. It makes sense to me. It's literal to me, metaphorical to you. I get it. Now I'm like, oh, it makes so much more sense to me now. So now the Alice in Wonderland makes sense. But Pinocchio? Oh, I hate Pinocchio. And I'm still sitting here going, why the fuck do I hate Pinocchio? Well, now I know why. And I got to say, I got on the I fucking hate Pinocchio fest since I was 4 years old. The moment I saw it, I went, I hate this movie. And I could not explain why until now. Because it's a lie. It's a fucking lie. It took all the metaphor and it made it literal, which painted the image of, look, it's easy to tell your friends from your enemies. It's a lie. Oh, Pinocchio was such bullshit. Yeah, I'm pissed. I sat there going, oh, so if I want to know when someone's lying, I just got to watch their nose grow. Oh, if only. No. Oh, if you want to know who an asshole is, just see if they're a wolf. No. Oh, I was so pissed. It gave you the impression that it was easy to tell the assholes from the friends. Pinocchio's the reason why we're all fucked up, people. Because we're all looking around for grown noses and wolves. This makes so much sense now. The delusion is breaking. I need this minute. I'm sitting, I don't even give it any thought. Like, it's been decades since I've thought about Pinocchio. I just like, oh, Pinocchio, go away. Because I just fucking hate it so much. And then my dumbass fuck of an ex bought the movie. And I said, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Well, I love the movie. I fucking hate it. Why'd you bring that into my house? That was literally the last time I talked about Pinocchio. And he's like, why do you hate it so much? I don't know. I hate it. And we sat there and we watched it and I'm seething. And then it gets to the puppet moment and I'm having a massive panic attack because of what the fuck Christians did to me. So I'm going, all right. So I went through that trauma phase of the puppet in the I don't want to talk about it. And I'm still getting madder and madder. Like, what the fuck? Just be honest and truthful and you'll be real. And I'm sitting here like, oh, this makes so much more sense. I want to burn that film. Oh God, this makes so much more sense. And I watched every fucking variation of Pinocchio I could find. And I'm like, it's a lie. It's a lie. The whole goddamn movie is a lie. But it's not walking around with a nose that's like way out to here. What the fuck is going on? Now I understand all of it. So let me break this down for you. Children, I need to clarify. People who have an IQ, an ethical IQ, lower than 4 cannot understand metaphor. People, God damn it, I'm just so, people who are under the ethical IQ of 4 do not understand the abstract. They don't understand metaphor, which means 100% of everything that a person hears under the ethical age of 4, does not understand abstract. They don't get it. And these dip fucks who do understand metaphor and abstract are showing children who have an average ethical IQ of 1, 2, 3, and 4 a metaphor spoken in literal terms, and now the children will take it literally. So now there's children who are being taught, oh, so someone's lying when their nose grows. That's not the way the world works. But this fucking movie teaches children that that's the way their world works because the dumb fucks, I love Walt Disney, I really do, but he really did fuck this one up, who made that film really did not understand psychology and anything about the subconscious mind. And as a result, it's not simple. No, the bad guys don't fucking look like wolves. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The bad guys don't look like wolves, but Pinocchio sure made us think they did. At an age when we did not understand the abstract, those dumb fucks. No wonder why we're all confused. It's Pinocchio's fault. I remember seeing The White Whale, and I didn't have the words to say, it's metaphorical. But my God, did I feel it. I'm like, this isn't about the whale. I'm just, this isn't about the whale. This isn't about the whale. This isn't about the whale. That's all I could say. It was like a logic loop that's been caught in my, you need to understand. This is a logic loop that's been caught in my head since I was 4 years old, since 1984. I've had this logic loop in my head for 40 years. And I finally got down to 4 years old. So when you deconstruct trauma, you then go back through and you deconstruct the logic. So I've been working my way through my logical code, purifying it, and I hit 4 years old just now. And I went, oh, I'm going now through the logical code of when I was 4 years old. But you first have to cure your mental illness. Then you got to get all your memories back. Then you got to get yourself to the point of comprehension. Then you got to purify your logical code. Then after you purify your logical code, you have to deconstruct your logical code all the way back to when you were 4 years old and reset it all. So I just made it to 4 years old. And when I got to this point, I made it to the Pinocchio film and I went, oh, and that has been a logical code that's been stuck in my head incorrectly since 1984. Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm going to be in New York City soon. Well, I'm in New York City now. But I mean, 2 years old is when I got to the city. And then I'm going to get to the logical code of that day. And oh God, I can't wait, because that's where my memories start, is when I was 2. And I remember looking out of Manhattan and I was inside the Statue of Liberty and I was pissed because I wanted to go to the torch and they wouldn't let me because the stairs were out. The stairs are still out. No one can get up there. And I'm going, all right. But my parents told me, no, you cannot go to the torch. And I'm like, I want the better view of Manhattan. These were my priorities at 2 years old. So I screamed and I wailed inside of the Statue of Liberty. That is my very first memory of life. Screaming my head off because they wouldn't let me go to the torch to see all of Manhattan. So that's what's coming up next. I cannot wait. So I get to Pinocchio and I'm pissed. I'm like, oh, that's what those fuckers did. Those dumb fucks decided to show me Pinocchio at a time when I had no ability to understand metaphor, when everything had to be literal. So here I am going, oh, so if people's noses grow, then they're lying. Gotcha. Data. Incorrect, but data. So now every child is walking around, looking around going, oh, their nose isn't growing. They must be telling the truth. Do you see the problem with our culture? So now I'm like, all right. And I remember looking at the white whale, just going, it's not about the whale. It's not about the whale. It's not about the whale. I don't know what it's about, but it's not about the whale. What the fuck is this about? I read Moby Dick just for this. I did not read no Moby Dick. I read part of Moby Dick. And then I went, oh, this is going to take some time because I don't want to learn about whaling right now. So I set that aside. But I have not yet read Moby Dick. So I'm sitting here looking at Pinocchio, trying to figure out everything I need to learn about Pinocchio since I was 4 years old. And I'm just sitting on this stupid thing, thinking things like, it's not about the white whale. It's not about the white whale. What the fuck is it about? And then it traumatized me because of the puppet sing. So then I just put it in the back dark corner of my abyss brain. And I'm like, no, it's going to go over there now. So I finally get to this point and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I fucking hate Pinocchio. I fucking hate Pinocchio. So it's not about the white whale. The white whale is metaphor. The white whale was metaphor for courage. It was everything that boy had to overcome. So the white whale was metaphor for his obstacles. See, it would have been better if they had just given this massive obstacle. Instead of calling the white whale whatever they called it, it should have been called obstacle, and it should have been labeled right across. And then a little dude, this is metaphor for an obstacle. There you go. That's Pinocchio. So we're going to do this. We're going to break this down. So first, we're going to talk about the man who was so lonely that he wished his puppets and dolls to real life. Because I don't relate to that at all. Yeah. So we all did that at one point. That was very much part of my story. It's so lonely, we decided to wish our dolls to life. That's a reoccurring story, by the way. We call it a common denominator. There's a reason why. I hypothesize that the be-all, end-all of the God inside all of us is a 5-year-old girl who's very lonely, and she's just wishing all of her dolls to life. Hence, here we are. So there's this dude who wishes all of his dolls to life because he's that lonely. He's got his little boy, but his boy has to prove his ethical integrity. It's simple. You want to be fake or do you want to be real? Let's translate that. Do you want to be fake and phony or do you want to be authentic? But instead of calling it authentic, oh no, we're going to say you're going to be a real boy one day. And I'm going, okay, totally missed the fucking message on that. So it's absolutely about ethics. Pinocchio is about the ethics, but God forbid they actually talk about what the whole thing, which is why Jiminy Cricket was the conscious, which isn't actually the conscious at all. And that makes no sense because whoever's put this movie together really fucked it up. I'm feeling so much better now. It's all making more sense now. So you have your ethics. And now, yes, Pinocchio is here, but the boy has to figure out if he's going to be ethical or unethical. So to help him out with his ethical integrity, they give him a bug, an insect called a conscious, which isn't a consciousness at all. So they completely fucked up that meaning, but hey, it's 1940 something, so they did the best they could do because the war was on. So after they fucked that up and they give him his consciousness, which is really his subconsciousness, they would have been better with the shoulder angels. That would have made a lot more sense. They give temptation, which is Honest John. Now, Honest John was the most fucking confusing thing in the entire world. Honest John. His name was fucking Honest John. It was such a mind fuck. I remember seeing such a confused child because of Pinocchio. Sitting here going, his name's Honest John. But he doesn't feel good to me. No, Honest John felt like a piece of fucking shit. And he was a fox. God, I fucking hated that movie. So they give you this fox and they name him Honest John. And he's lying. And he's a piece of shit. And I'm just like, okay, something's really not up. And this doesn't make any sense. And I'm just getting pissed. Now I know why. My children were not tormented with Pinocchio. I would not let it in the house until my then ex-husband decided to bring it in. And I'm like, why did you bring that garbage into here? Fox and Honest John. It's a narcissist's film. You need to trust the people who shit on you. And then he goes off. He doesn't even go off with them. They kidnap him. And then they bully him and they lock him up. And I'm like, God, it's my life. It's my life. Except my foxes don't look like foxes. And foxes are cute, by the way. Oh, I was so pissed at this film. Everything about this movie I hated. They even sold him into slavery. I'm trying to analyze the blue fairy. What the fuck is her deal in all of this? I'm analyzing it. Maybe she's just chance. Maybe she's chance. I'm going to give you the chance to prove yourself worthy, brave, and unselfish. And then maybe one day you will be a real boy. You mean authentic? Not an asshole? How about ethically authentic? I'm going to redo a whole thing on Pinocchio. I'm going to do it. One-man show, Pinocchio, the real story. Ethically authentic. We're going to spell it out for you because Pinocchio fucked it all up for all of us. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here reading Aesop's Fables and The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And I'm sitting there going, which would have made sense if I hadn't watched Pinocchio. Just gotta say. God, and they called him Honest fucking John. What a lie! And I get it. Maybe some dipshit adult had it in their head. Hey, and I love Disney, but hey, you know what? Let's show the children the real world. Let's show them that there's going to be assholes called Honest John who are actually foxes. But let's take the, could you make it more confusing? This is my problem with Pinocchio. Of all the movies, it is probably the single most important fucking movie ever made. And they fucked it up so royally with translation because they didn't know anything about the subconscious mind that all it did was teach us the opposite lesson, that you can trust foxes named Honest John and that people will lie to you and their noses will grow. So as long as their noses don't grow, you can trust them. Because I want to point something out to you. As much as Pinocchio lied and his nose grew, did the fox's nose grow? Once? No, it didn't. Why do you think that was? So I'm sitting here going, great, the writers are also illogical. Which just reaffirmed the stupid lesson that, oh, so when people lie, their noses grow. But here's the fox, and he's telling lies, and his name is Honest John, but his nose isn't growing. Therefore, oh, Pinocchio is a piece of shit written by narcissists. For narcissists. It's narcissist training. It's why we're all fucked up. Yes, this is all making sense now. Oh, I fucking hate Pinocchio. Now I know why. It's riddled with lie on beautiful little children brains. It makes sense now. It makes sense now. God, it's such a garbage piece of film. All right, I feel better now. I'm getting all this out. I'm like rewiring all the logical code. You should have seen me with Alice in Wonderland. Rewiring all the logical code. God, I feel so much better. God, it pissed me off. I was the nose growing. I remember looking at my brother going, I know he's lying. Why isn't his nose growing? I remember that. Oh, my brother was a fucking liar. I remember him sitting there doing shit. And then I remember him later confessing all the shit he did. And I'm going, why wasn't your nose growing? God, I was so mad. Didn't make any sense. It was the illogic. It was cognitive dissonance. Just cramming into my little kid brain. God, this makes so much more sense. And then that piece of shit Stromboli. Ugh. And then they're at a place called Pleasure Island. And I'm looking at Pleasure Island. And I'm going, there is nothing pleasant about this shithole. There is nothing pleasant about Pleasureland. Nothing. Where the fuck is Pleasureland? Because everyone's turning into jackasses. And there's like slavery going on. And children are drinking and smoking. And there's damaging happening. And I'm just going, this place is a fucking shit show. Why are they calling it Pleasure Island? I loved the boat. Loved the boat. The boat was my favorite part. But then they get to Pleasure Island and it made no sense. And he's playing pool. Now that I couldn't figure out for a while. But fortunately, I watched The Music Man. So after I watched The Music Man, then I understood why pool was so bad. Because pool starts with a P, which rhymes with T, and that stands for trouble. So that made a lot of sense to me. I went, all right, so now I understand why pool is bad. That makes all the sense in the world. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Music Man. Now I understand why pool was bad. Because it starts with P and it rhymes with T and that stands for trouble. All right. But then he turned into a donkey and that was fucking terrifying. I had fucking nightmares over Pinocchio. What dipshit made this film? So I'm sitting here shaking in my boots. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to touch alcohol. It's coffee. So I'm sitting here going, what the fuck is going on with this shit? I was terrified of smoking for so long. Until I turned 14, discovered weed, and I went, oh, well, fuck that shit. But good God, that movie was terrifying. Propaganda. That's a form of domesticated terrorism. And my poor little brain couldn't understand the abstract. And then we get to the whale. And I'm just going, it's not about the whale. It's not about the whale. I don't know what they're trying to say to me, but there's something just going on, and it's not about the whale. What the fuck is the whale? What does the whale mean? What does the whale mean? And I could not say the words. It's a metaphor, because I did not yet know what a metaphor was. I do remember the moment much, much later when I finally figured that part out, and I went, oh, it's metaphorical. What's the metaphor? So he finally uses his ethics to confront his obstacles, to prove his courage, spare his life, and save Geppetto, giving his life. And he proved himself brave, unselfish, and ethical, and thus he became authentic and ethical. Children really do need literal and in-your-face truth. They really do. And when you make garbage like Alice in Wonderland and Pinocchio, it's confusing as fuck. And here's the other really fucking dirty... See, everyone's bitching on Walt Disney about the princesses. Let me tell you about that. First of all, I'm a Disney princess. Okay? I got from Ariel I'm 16 years old. I'm not a child. Oh, I got that down. Oh, believe me. It's because of Ariel that I stood up to my father and I got emancipated and I took care of myself, because my father sure as fuck wasn't protecting me from my brother beating me. So thank you, Ariel. Yeah. And it was because of Belle that I learned kindness to assholes. But more importantly, I learned the love of books from Belle. I learned that it was fucking okay to want more than mediocrity in life. Thank you, Belle. And I learned the gorgeous line, I am not a prize to be won, from Jasmine. So I am a fucking Disney princess. Fuck you all. Disney princesses rock. But I will tell you where Disney really fucked up everything. It wasn't the Disney princesses. No. It was in shit like Pinocchio. And then that dipshit turns around and he creates Robin Hood. But they're all foxes. So I'm sitting here going, so foxes are bad? No, because foxes are good. Because Robin Hood's a fox and Maid Marian's a fox. But Honest John's a fox. So foxes are good. But Honest John's a dick. He's lying, but his nose isn't growing. So maybe he's telling the truth and his name is Honest John. Why can't I figure this shit out? What's going on? And I love cats. My God, do I love cats. But I'm looking at this cat and I'm like, he's a fucking asshole. He's with Honest John. And Honest John is making me feel real dirty. I don't like Honest John. What's his deal? But his nose isn't growing. And foxes are good because Robin Hood is a fox and Robin Hood is good. You see the fucked upness that Disney cost me? He redeemed himself when he gave me Ariel. Okay. All right. I have officially unraveled the illogical shit fest that is Pinocchio, and I feel better. That was inside of me for 40 years. That was 40 years of pent up. What the fuck is up with Pinocchio? It was just one big ball of illogical shit. It was a pack of lies. No, children. Liars are not foxes. Liars and thieves. That's what they are. That's what their name is. They're just liars and thieves. Liars and thieves. That is so much easier. They are just liars and thieves. And they have characteristics. These are the characteristics of liars and thieves. And that's really what we need to be teaching our children. How to tell a liar and a thief from a friend. Oh my God, raise your hand if you want that class, because I'm teaching it. How to tell a liar and a thief from a friend. Yep. And now I can see the whole fucking movie of Pinocchio. And the movie itself is a fucking lie. It has so much logical fallacy inside of it. And I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It is the world's biggest shit fest of logical impurity that's confusing as fuck. And children are highly logical. Good God, what a fucking piece of shit movie that was. I loved Robin Hood. Oh my God, I loved Robin Hood. You know what I loved about Aesop's Fables? At the end of Aesop's Fables, they tell you what the moral is. And when you're a kid, that matters. That really matters. Like, no, when you lie, your nose doesn't grow because there's lying through that whole fucking film. And no one's nose grew except Pinocchio's. Why? Why? And I felt so bad for Geppetto through the whole fucking thing. Poor Geppetto. And Figaro. I'm sitting here going, well, Figaro's so sweet. Who's this asshole cat? Why is that cat the cute one that's walking around like a normal cat, Figaro, but this asshole is not saying anything and he's standing next to Honest John? Why did the cat never talk? I had so much confusion over the cat. Now, I do know about the cat with Pluto in the Disney cartoons that were all the way back when during the 30s and 40s. So my question is, did Pinocchio come after that? Which came first? Was it Pinocchio movie and then they said, hey, we love this cat, let's pair him up with Pluto? Or had they already partnered this asshole cat up with Pluto and they decided to put him in the movie? So I grew up with both the Pluto cartoons, all of the Disney, and also Pinocchio. And I wondered that for years. Did this asshole cat get made for the Pinocchio movie? And they went, we love this character so much, let's put him in the Pinocchio movies. Or did they create the Pluto cartoons, create this asshole cat with Pluto, and then they went, hey, this guy's an asshole, let's partner up with Honest John? I've been wondering that for fucking decades. Decades. I could just Google it. I don't even know the name of this cat. I just know he's a fucking asshole. And I love cats. So now I'm really fucking pissed. I'm like, why are you making the cat an asshole? What the fuck is it with Disney making cats assholes? And then he made Aristocats. So I forgave him. Okay, it's better now. It's better. I loved Lucifer in Cinderella. Oh, I loved Lucifer in Cinderella. I always felt bad for Lucifer and Cinderella. Oh, it was so bad for seriously. It wasn't his fault that he was a cat and liked to eat mice. My God, the insanities of that shit show that was Pinocchio. I do believe my 4-year-old brain is done analyzing the insanity of that shit fest. I'm combing through this logic one more time. Just give me a minute. And why did no one ever look at them and say, you know, you're an animal, right? Why are you walking around talking like a human being? And the other thing was the slavery with the donkeys at the end. I had fucking nightmares. I'm like, are they trying to scare me? So if I'm evil, I'm going to turn into a jackass? I believed in animal morphology for so fucking long. An asshole is going to turn you into a donkey. Oh my God, the nightmares I had. I was terrified. And then the little boys. Why boys? Oh, that pissed me off too. I'm like, what the fuck where were the girls? What'd they do with the girls? What'd they do to the girls? God, that scared the shit out of me. That probably was because of where I came from. But no, that was terrifying. Why the fuck they want boys? God, that was terrifying. The whole fucking thing was terrifying. And then those black things, the slave owners that were like crating up the donkeys. And what the fuck were they going to do with all those donkeys? Is there like a donkey mill somewhere? God, this is all the shit that my brain was trying to figure out when I was 4. God, like that movie terrified the fuck out of me. Not for children. It's a horror film. Oh, I feel so good saying that. That movie was a fucking horror film. That and Alice in Wonderland. Both of those were horror films. So I love Lewis Carroll now, but God damn it, those were horror films. Like seriously, these adults had no fucking idea of the child's mind. Children are literal and highly logical. You take logic and literal, and that's the beauty of make-believe, is when you have a child who's making believe, it's literal. I just watched Supernatural. The episode when Nikki the mermaid gets canned and Sparkles the unicorn gets canned. And they got to go to Weebs. When was the last time you saw Nikki the mermaid? I cannot believe I just said this. Because you play air guitar? Because, oh my God, Sparkles is dead. So in the episode of Supernatural, this particular one, somebody is often the imaginary friends. And they're on a whole who's killing all the imaginary friends. And it starts off with this girl playing with her imaginary friend who is a giant unicorn man. And he's like covered in glitter. And somebody stabs him to death and leaves the corpse in the bedroom. Now, because he's an imaginary friend, the adults don't know to go in and clean it up. But to the girl, oh, he's real. So she's like, I can't go in my room. I can't go in my room. So Dean and Sam are brought in to investigate. And they're given the ability to see the imaginary world. They're called, what are they called? I can't remember the name of what they are called. It's an Aramaic mythology, and they're very real. So they walk into this child's bedroom, and they don't see anything. They're like, okay, imaginary friends aren't real. And then the imaginary friend, who was Sam's imaginary friend, gives them the gift of being able to see the imaginary world. And there is a corpse of a unicorn man with glitter blood all over the child's floor. And they're like, oh. And the mother walks in, she's walking through the glitter blood, and she's rubbing her face like this, and there's blood all over her face, but it's glitter blood. and I cannot emphasize this too enough. Children, literal logic. So when they make believe, it's real. Oh, you bet your fucking ass it's real. Because it's literal and logical. So it's real. And I'm an ontologist. This is what reality is. So I'm looking at it going, oh, this makes so much more sense. All my childhood, well, not all. That was a fraction of my childhood trauma was Pinocchio. And I'm sitting here looking at Pinocchio going, if they hadn't crammed that lying fucking piece of shit garbage into my head at 4 years old, I bet you I probably would have been far more prepared to deal with half of the abuse because I would know not to be looking for noses that grow when people lie. And this is the stupidity of adults. This is the dumb shit that adults don't think about because they know jack and fucking shit about the subconscious mind. And now you've got that dumb fucker making kids' movies that are actually horror films. It all makes sense now. And I'm just, so I got this Pinocchio garbage in my head, and now I got to go through and find all the logical threads, correct them all, and I'm just looking for the one if-then clause. Pinocchio was made by a dumb fucking idiot who didn't know anything about the child's mind, lying truth, or he was malicious. No, he was not malicious. He was just an idiot. Like, honestly, that's an adult movie. It's an adult movie. Pinocchio is an adult movie. Do not have your kids watch it. Do not have your kids watch it. You have no idea what they're translating that shit into. Good God, that fucking piece of shit movie. And here's the thing. This is Carl Jung. So when I was 4 years old, I had a nightmare that my brother took my dolls, crawled into a stove, and melted all of my dolls' faces. The nightmare was so fucking horrific that it made me terrified of dolls for the rest of my life. And it's the reason why I went into Carl Jung and Freud back when I was 8 years old, trying to figure out what the fuck nightmares are to stop them. Because that was one, they get so much worse. My nightmares got so much worse. And I just wanted to stop my nightmares. So I studied and analyzed dream everything. I ripped dreams the fuck apart. And that's how I discovered identity. It's coming from identity. But Freud is a fucking idiot. He didn't know what he was talking about. So I had to unravel all the garbage that was Freud to figure out what the fuck he was talking about, only to figure out that he was chasing a bunch of red herrings because he was an idiot who just, medical doctors do not have any business playing in psychology. And had he read Socrates, he would have had all the answers. So it was actually when I found philosophy and Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato later that I went, oh, there's all that makes so much more sense. So, Pythagorean psychology. So I was able to finally clear up some of my nightmares with Pythagorean psychology. And so when I dug out Jung, who was a philosopher, by the way, and he studied Plato, Pythagoras. So when I studied Jung and he was talking about what dreams and nightmares are, he also got into what dolls are. Children do not see a difference between a doll and a human being. They're the same thing. They are identical. So when you rip apart a doll to a child, that's equivalent to literally ripping apart a human being because they're logical and literal. So when they see dolls, they see human people. They cannot tell the difference. Good God, how little humans know about children. Children, we are born with the fourth wall and the abstract right into the material plane. And it is the system that separates that from us and takes it away. And that's when they take away our make-believe. It takes away our ability to merge and integrate the two of them. But children are natural human beings before they're broken. An adult is just a broken child. So a child, when they look at dolls, toys, they're real. They are very real. And you bet your fucking ass they're real. And they can't tell the difference. So when you're watching a movie like Toy Story, fucking scared the shit out of me. I was 12 and 20 years old watching that movie, and I was still scared the fuck out of it because my brain wasn't broken because I didn't grow up in the system. So I never separated my imagination. I am an adult, how adults are supposed to be. We're just grown-up children. So the imagination isn't supposed to stop. So you still look at dolls, and they're still people. You look at toys, and they're still real. That's not something you grow out of. That's the system breaking you. I never understood that about adults. People asked me yesterday, what was it like growing outside of the system? And I want to say, what was it like growing up inside the system? Where they have you convinced that your make-believe is something you outgrow. You don't outgrow your make-believe. They take it away from you. And when I watched Toy Story, I was 20. And I was so fucking scared of Sid's room. That's how I see things. Dolls with the heads pulled off, terrifying as fuck. I remember when I was in high school, I was in the 9th grade, and I looked down at this newspaper, and there was a picture of a man in Iraq who had stepped on a mine bomb, and half his body was gone, and the picture was in color. And then there was this time I was sitting on the bus, and this man came on the bus, and his thumb was missing because he had chopped it off, and he had what I thought was red paint down the front of him. It's all the same. All the same. There was no difference between Sid's toys, the man on the bus with no thumb, or the picture in the newspaper of the man who'd been blown up. It was all the same. There was never a wall for me between reality, make-believe, imagination, the abstract. It's all the same. It's the way it's supposed to be. There's never a divide. And when I see people who don't have imagination, or dragons are real. How can you not see them? And you've got all these dipshit adults who have broken minds. You know, it reminds me of that episode of Tales of the Crypt, when the police get a phone call in. They go to the insane asylum and they talk to the doctor, and they're like, we heard screaming. Oh, well, you know, it's the patients here. And the doctor walks the cops through, and everyone's fine and everyone's calm. And the cops are like, all right, well, if you need anything else, you let us know. He goes, yeah, it's all right. We get it all the time. And they're like, well, we did get a call, you know, about a problem. He goes, yes, one of our patients got out, but everything's all taken care of now. And they walk him in and they show him the gentleman, and he's sitting there like rocking back and forth. I'm like, okay. And the cops leave, and the doctor goes into his office, and he picks up the skull of the doctor. The patient donned the doctor's clothes and killed the doctor and was playing doctor now. That's exactly what the entire world feels like to me. Like the entire fucking place is being run by a bunch of insane fucks with broken minds, diagnosing everyone with broken minds. And I'm going, that's what they really don't want you to know. That's the delusion. When you study ontology and logic, that's what you see. That's what they don't want you to see, which is why they removed logic and ontology from your educational course. So, yeah. I have a lot more to work out with Pinocchio. A lot more. But I'm getting there. What a really sick fuck of a movie, though. Thank you so much. This has been an imbroglio, and may the kindest of words always find you.